What's going on, YouTube, fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. It's free. It helps get the video out there. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For my day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. With that being said, let's get right into the story. For the average person, they probably wake up every day, go punch the clock to earn an honest living. They don't break the law and they do what they have to do to stay out of trouble. That's what you would call a civilian and a law-abiding citizen. On the flip side of that, you have others that wake up every day plotting, looking for a move to make to get some money. Whatever opportunity comes their way, they are on it. It could be robbing, hustling, scamming, anything to survive. Some would consider that a street person, someone who earns their money from crime. But it's also another group of people, someone who might have a job, they go to work during the day, but for them, it's just not enough. So they also play in the streets at night, probably to get off a little bit of grass, something light, flip their work check to try to make some more money. That's what you call having one foot in and one foot out. Not to judge none of the type of people I just described, because me myself have been all three at different points in my life. But if you know anything about the streets, then you understand the wolves can tell who is in it for survival and who is in it for the extras. The way you move, the way you talk, everything is analyzed when you decide to leave your house and go into that field or the streets. Your intentions could be pure. You could be a solid individual who wants to break bread and see everybody eat. But in the game, it is cruddy, and good guys finish last. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we'll be taking it to Montgomery County, Maryland to discuss the case of a man who owed his plug some money, but instead of paying, he backdoored them. Back in 2018, 29-year-old Joshua Frazier, nicknamed Bones by family and friends, was navigating life in Virginia. Joshua described as ambitious, a go-getter, a father who loved his 3 kids. He was getting his life back on track after serving a prison sentence for a homicide that happened when he was a lot younger. But now back in the streets, he had found a way to shape back. He had a good job as a personal trainer and was going to school to become an electrician. His main focus was to provide a comfortable life for him and his kids. Not a stranger to the streets though, and knowing a lot of people, he was able to get his hands on pretty much anything he wanted to. He knew the players and he was still in the mix a little bit. Joshua decided he would move some product just to build his money up. Nothing petty, but all weight. The drug of choice that you could never go wrong with in the DMV is smack, or boy. For those that don't know anything about narcotics, that's the drug that keeps people gnawing and leaning. It's a substance that once it hooks you, you need it to even function and to keep from being sick. Joshua would grab some weight and sell product to people he trusted, mostly individuals from prison that he did time with or that he knew from the streets. Business was jamming, trainer by day, plug by night. Of course, word traveled fast, and through mutual associates, he met a young man, at the time 24-year-old Gregory Jones from West Virginia. Gregory and Joshua would chop it up and eventually build a business relationship. The young man would cop product from Joshua and sell it in West Virginia, even in certain parts of Maryland, like Montgomery County. By February 2018, the two had been doing business for a minute, with it never been any problems. So when Gregory came up short on cash, he asked Joshua for a front. Nothing major, just enough to make some bread, come back, pay his plug, and cop his own. Joshua, trusting the young man, told him, "Alright, bet, no problem." He gave him a pack, with Gregory telling him, "I appreciate it, bro. I will pay you back in a few days." Joshua had a lady friend who he often kicked it with. At the time, 34-year-old Ashley Dickinson. She was an HR manager at a decent company. Her and Joshua were close, enough that she knew about his side business and would sometimes ride with him to make plays or even drive him to the locations. On the evening of February 15th, 2018, the two were together, just hanging out, when Joshua sent Gregory a text message like, "Yo, you got that bread?" In total, $900. Gregory stated, "Yeah, big bro, but I'm all the way in Maryland, Montgomery County." Joshua told him, "It's no problem. I need to come by and grab that." He told him to send him a location. Gregory sent him a location in Burtonsville, Maryland, a part of Montgomery County. Joshua and Ashley headed to the location, with her driving. When they got there and pulled up, he texted Gregory, who came out the cut and jumped in the back seat. After a brief conversation, multiple shots went off, and about a minute later, a car fled the area. A person walking through the neighborhood about 10 p.m. noticed a car on the curve with two people inside, looking like the window was shattered. They called local police, who responded to the scene to find a man and woman both suffering from gunshot wounds to the back of their head. The woman in the driver's seat was unfortunately identified as Ashley, and the man, Joshua. Police noticed a spent shell casing from a 9mm and took it in for evidence. A search of Joshua's cell phone showed he was coming to meet someone, but the name from the text messages was just saved as a letter, G. Police ran the phone number and saw it belonged to Gregory, but that wasn't enough to determine was the young man the shooter. Gregory had a cousin named Ty, and just 2 days after the homicides, he lost his life in a shootout outside of a club in West Virginia. At the scene was multiple shell casings from a .45 caliber, also a 9mm. Witnesses claimed Ty and his cousin was shooting and Ty got hit. When asked who his cousin was, people stated Gregory. Virginia police already knew his name was connected to the double hit in Maryland, as he was the last person in contact with Joshua. A search of Ty's cell phone revealed the night of the hit, on February 15th, his phone traveled through West Virginia and stopped in Maryland, just a few blocks away from where Ashley and Joshua was found at. The 9mm shell casing found at the club shooting was taken in for evidence, and it matched the shell casing found in the car the night Ashley and Joshua was hit. Police determined through a search of Gregory's phone records, his phone and his cousin's Ty phone pinged together the night of the hit, traveling from Virginia to Maryland, with the plan to take Joshua's life and not pay him. It was determined Gregory and his cousin were together, as Joshua texted him about the bread. He lied about being in Maryland, but gave Joshua that location and headed there so he could ambush him, thinking if the hit happened outside of Virginia, it would be harder to determine what happened. It was alleged that Ty was the getaway driver after the fact, and Ashley was shot only not to leave witnesses, as Gregory thought Joshua was coming by himself. With that, a warrant was put out for Gregory. He was later tracked down to a house in Maryland, arrested and charged with 2 counts of premeditated hit, also weapon violations. As the case made its way to trial, the jury had a lot to listen to, with the prosecutor painting a picture of a man who refused to pay a drug debt, so he took 2 lives. The evidence presented was text messages, phone records, and the shell casings. No witnesses though. The jury at first had trouble tying everything together, even with the club shooting and Ty being a suspect who was with Gregory the night of the hit. But in the end, they came back with a guilty verdict, stating Gregory seemed like the only logical suspect. As the judge got ready to sentence the young man, they stated he would never see the streets again, and he was sentenced to 2 life sentences plus 30 years in prison, without the possibility of parole. The young man's lawyer immediately filed the appeal, stating the case was all circumstantial, and the jury shouldn't find a person guilty just because there's no other known suspect. But as of now, Gregory is still serving his time. Rest in peace to Joshua and Ashley. I send my prayers and condolences to their families. 2 lives gone, over $900. But that's the cruddy thing about the streets. To a lot of people, $900 is petty money. But in that game, it's not. When it comes to survival, a person choosing their own over yours, they will take your life for $50. If they feel like it will help them survive just another day. Gregory could have simply just told Joshua, like, bro, you took off, or not answered the text messages and just kept it moving and see how it played out. But to take a life because you owe money is crazy. It's usually the other way around, with somebody looking for you and trying to get at you because you owe them some money. But now he got his whole life to sit and think about that one night over a petty debt. Joshua was on the right track, but that 1 foot in, 1 foot out game that we was talking about earlier never plays out good. And Ashley was collateral damage. Nothing to do with nothing. But I want to leave this one open for discussion. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts about the situation in the comments. And remember, we gotta succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Yeah, man, super crazy story. Rest in peace to everybody in the situation that lost their life. I definitely send my prayers to their family. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Y'all leave it in the comments. Definitely tap that like button if you're feeling the content. But I appreciate you if you made it to the end. That's another episode of Hood Tales. This your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.